So in this video, I'll be showing you how to do a sumo deadlift. It's a very simple instructional video for someone that's never pulled sumo before, just so that you can learn the basics. All right. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you get your stance width correct. Now, you might see varying stance widths from people all over the internet, and I guess some people, their first impression is that you just want to take your stance width as wide as possible to decrease the range as much as possible, and it's not exactly true. All right. When I'm teaching someone to deadlift with a sumo position, the first thing I want to get them to do, everyone starts in the same position, and that is what we want to see is basically you want a shin angle that's like 90 degrees, perpendicular to the floor. Think of it however you like, but we want to see that shin nice and vertical from both the front view and the side view. Okay, so we've got the knee stacked over the ankle. Now you can go wider, you can go narrower, but that's something that you can explore down the track once you've just developed some familiarity with the movement to start off with. Okay, so stance width, shin angle, neutral, knee is stacked over ankle. Pretty simple. Now, when we're coming down to the bar, what we want to think about is if you lean over to the side, doesn't matter which side, have a look over your foot, and you think, okay, well, I can see the direction where my leg is pointing. We want the angle of our foot to line up with the angle of our leg. Typically, you can think of it as angle of the knee, but think foot points in the same direction as femur. So if my knee's going in that direction, my foot should point in that direction, and that should happen on both sides, okay? That just ensures that we've got this nice neutral shin that I'm talking about, okay? Because otherwise we end up in this position here, and it's an inefficient way to deadlift. Some people might disagree, that's okay. This is how I would tell you to deadlift. It's also going to mean that we can get our hips nice and open. We can abduct, open up through our hips. And as we're coming down to this position, we want to think about letting our knees go out towards these plates. Okay, so this comes, we squat down, kind of. I'm going to squat down, drive our knees out, so that way our hips are nice and open, and we're in this position that I talked about, okay? Foot is pointing in the same direction as our knee. That is our start position, okay? As far as our grip width is concerned, we want to make sure that the arms are really just straight down. We want straight shins, we want straight arms. So arms are nice and long. You can think about trying to reach down towards the ground, get those scaps a bit protracted, get some lat tension going on, really get those arms nice and long. Bit of thoracic flexion, so rounding through your upper back, completely okay. With a sumo position, typically, you shouldn't actually have to get any rounding through your lower back. It should be relatively neutral or flat. Okay, so rounding through that thoracic, arms are nice and long, coming down into position. So now I've got some beautiful back tension. I've got already started to create some tension through my hips because I'm driving my knees out into position. Arms are long, okay? And then from here, it doesn't matter if you're pulling hook grip or mixed grip. Either way, we're going to keep those arms long, come down to the bar, grab it with grip shoulder width. We don't want our arms across our body. We don't want our hands wider, okay? If we bring them across or take them out wider, it's going to change the range of motion. Not to mention, it'll change your impact, your ability to get your lats tight, to create tension through your upper back as well. All right, so very basic stuff. As far as taking the slack out of the bar, wedging your hips in, it's really no different from a conventional deadlift. So we're going to come down, arms long. We're going to use the weight of the bar to try and make our arms as long as possible. And you can use a dynamic start, you can use a static start, you can wedge in. It's completely up to you. Typically, if you're new to the position, you're not familiar with how to wedge properly, how to take the slack out of the bar, I would always try and tell you to use a static start. So you're going to come down, you're going to grab the bar, you're going to use the weight of the bar, wedge in, and now there's all this tension. And if I want, I can just ease the bar off the ground because I've created tension everywhere. We don't want to hear that. We want, that's now slacks out of the bar, position is tight, that's where I want to be. That's where I'm going to pull from, okay? Once you're confident with taking the slack out of the bar with wedging your hips in, then you can start to use a more dynamic start, and you can wedge and pull. But I would strongly recommend that you practice taking the slack out of the bar, wedging in, get used to that feeling of creating tension. And this is where those pause deadlifts off the floor can come in really handy, that you've probably seen a shitload of people do who pull sumo, okay? So that is the meat and potatoes of how to set up for a sumo deadlift. Super simple, super straightforward. Don't mess it up.